Hi, it's Keith Stoneback, the optimistic quadriplegic, and now this is episode 2. So let's talk a little bit about how I actually got hurt. Um, Unlike anything you've probably ever heard before, I was on the best weekend of the summer. I look forward to it. I go golfing with 16 of my best buddies. A lot of them I've known since third grade. Um, and we would go up north to a different resort every year and play 4 rounds of golf. The middle day, which on this case was a Sunday, we played 36 holes. And we had finished our second round of the day, and our group was the last group. So everybody is in a hurry to get to dinner, and so there was no gathering at that last hole. And so it was just my foursome and my partner. I was driving. My partner was Greg Gilarowski, whom we call Gil for obvious reasons. But so we were going to drive to the parking lot, unload our bags, and then walk to dinner. It was that close. It was a nice closed resort called Boyne Highlands. So I'm driving, and there's like little curbs. It's concrete, but there's little curbs where there's grass. And we were driving, and Gil said, "We're coming in pretty hot." And just as we did that, I hit the curb, and the cart turned over onto the driver's side, the left side. Now, I don't know what happened, but my theory is that I was ejected in the fall just enough so that when the cart came down, the roof of the cart landed on the side of my neck. And luckily, Gil was hanging on to like the bar they have in the golf carts, and he didn't fall on me, which we later found out was a big deal. So all I really remember is I was laying on the grass, and I had my arm right in front of me, just like this. I was face down, but I could see my arm plainly. And, the thoughts are going through my head like, I hope I didn't damage my golf clubs. And then I said, well, all right, get up and face the music. That was pretty stupid. So I went to move to get up, and I couldn't move. I'm looking at this arm, telling it to move, and it's not moving. So I say, well, I'll move my legs. And I couldn't do that. So thankfully, now here's where one of the miracles comes in. God kept me conscious long enough for me to be able to tell Gil, and it was not clear on who all was there. So when we'll talk to some of the other of my golf buddies in a couple of weeks, and maybe we'll get more information. But I was able to yell out that I can't move my arms or my legs. I can't move my arms or my legs. So they were smart enough not to roll me over or just say, how guys are, they would say, just, rub some dirt on it and stand up, you're fine. Well, I wasn't fine. And so apparently, a part of the story I do know is that, like, there was a volunteer fireman on the scene right away, and he knew the seriousness of it. And then more volunteer firemen got there. They were able to roll me over on a board. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember the ride to the hospital. I'm thinking it was about 20 minutes, just based on my memory of the route since then. And next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in the hospital. And I was on my back, and there was a person there whom I didn't recognize, turned out to be the neurosurgeon. His name was Dr. Colin. His name still is Dr. Colin. Um, and he is my hero forever. But at the time, he um, he told me how dire my outlook was. I had broken my neck at C4, C5, which is very high. Um, there is there's three parts to your spine. There is thoracic is in the middle, and then there is the lumbar, which is lower. The higher up you get injured on your spine, um, the more, the less things are going to work on your body, the more injury you're going to have in your body. So I couldn't move my arms or my legs. And the doctor was telling me that I was going to need surgery and that I may not survive the surgery. He was very matter of fact, but he wanted me to know what I was getting into. But the amazing thing is somebody tells you that you might die in the next few hours. I was very calm. And I know that was the presence of God just telling me, don't worry. If you do die, it's going to be, we have a great place for you. And if you don't die, then I want you to, make the best of it. Do something good with it. So that was never a concern. And I told the doctor that the one thing I did not want to be on a ventilator, to have to breathe on a ventilator for the rest of my life. Like all those pictures I saw of Christopher Reeve, I didn't want to be that guy. And he told me, well, there's no guarantee, but he took that to heart. I found out even later that he was not going to let me have to live on a vent. He knows that I would rather be taken off and pass away than live like that. So next thing I know, I went into surgery. Well, no, I take that back. The hardest part was I had to call Sarah. She was home. So she's back in Grand Blanc, 3.5 hours away. And Dr. Cullen dialed her up and introduced himself and told her what had happened and told her how dire it was, just like with me. Said, you need to get up here as soon as possible. And then he put the phone in my ear and I talked to her. And again, it wasn't, I told her I loved her, but I never said goodbye. I never thought that I was going to die. I knew I was going to see her again. And I think that was God telling me that again. And I didn't want her to be any more upset than she already was. So Sarah will tell her story about that phone call and her journey up and what her weight was during the surgery in another episode later. But the other thing was there was 3 of my golf buddies, and we're called the Griswolds, in tribute to Clark W. Griswold from the Vacation movies. Goes way back to a softball team, but anyways, we were the Griswold Golf Association. So when I refer to the Griswolds, that's who I'm talking about. And 3 of the Griswolds that were there, they stayed behind because they were at the accident scene. Obviously it was Gil who was with me, but Steve Mormon and Bob Chapman were there. I think there was 1 or 2 other guys, but they were in the waiting room. Anyways, they came in and they talked to me, and they were shook up, obviously. But all I could tell them, I says, listen, no matter what happens to me, you have to take care of Sarah. Make sure you take care of Sarah. And it's probably the first time that I told those guys I love them, that's too late to do that. That's a big recommendation. If you've got good friends, I don't care if you're a 50-year-old man, don't be too proud to tell somebody that you love them, because you might someday not get the chance and you'll regret it. But anyway, we had a lot of conversation, and you know, all they waited until Sarah got to the hospital, which was probably you know, 2 o'clock in the morning. The accident happened around 6:30 maybe, and I was in surgery by midnight. But I will get more into what happened after surgery, and we'll get Sarah's reaction in a later episode. And I appreciate you viewing. Hit the subscribe button so you can be updated when I post new videos. And thank you very much.